Hello and welcome back to an accounting crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're back with another banger PulseChain video, giving you guys the latest and greatest of crypto news. And today on a beautiful Saturday, waking up to this, a green nice day on PulseChain. So green that reminds me of an Atropa garden. And speaking about Atropa, we're going to be reviewing a project which was airdropped to you guys. 50 lucky members from my community got airdropped this token, which we're going to cover in this video. Big shout out to them. This is kind of a continuation, part of the 414 printer ecosystem, all to do with Atropa. You guys already know Atropa is amazing. We talked about it yesterday, how Atropa in a live stream said that we are entering a prime mover stage, effectively saying that smart money is moving right now. This is why I wanted to showcase this video, this project. This is part of the reason why I wanted to wait and time this project with the macroeconomic conditions. We're going to cover that in this video as well, and why it is really positioning. And of course, we've seen news from Richard Hart talking about, global marketing. We're going to also cover big things happening on the macro side. And also, I wanted to wait until these projects became undervalued. So yes, they're bullish. That's one check mark. But of course, you guys know me. We can find 1,000 bullish projects. But the best thing to do is to be efficient and allocate your buying power to the cheap bullish projects, which, by the way, PulseChain is full of them. So this is what we're going to showcase and spotlight in this video. Big shout to the devs behind us, because they delivered on the airdrop. If you guys didn't know, if you weren't one of the 50, which by the way, that marks as my biggest airdrop yet. So yeah, 50 people got airdropped, 555, which right now is worth $114. So that's absolutely crazy. If we bring up a calculator times 114, that's around a $5,700 airdrop. But the crazy part, that 5555, if we bring that there and times it by the price at the all-time high 0.0007922, that was worth $440. So effectively at that high, the airdrop was worth $22,000 to my community. So honestly, guys, big shout out to the dev for delivering on this. Part of the Inktoshi, they're really we're going to showcase their website as well. It's very polished. I love it. I can tell they're spending time, energy and effort, and they're believing, they're committing to this project. I can also tell because this is not even the only liquidity pools. So you can see here, if we paste the contract address, you can see the other different LP pools with PDAI, pWBTC. This utilizes Hart's law to our advantage. Now, if PDAI does a 50x, guess what this chart will do? Now, within ratio, it will be exposed to that appreciation. Okay, the same thing with pWBTC, same thing with Atropa, big bullish tokens. So you can see this right here. Look at this, Atropa is up 25% today, guys, on a Saturday, on a weekend. That's unheard of. Even more bullish news, we're going to cover kind of one of the latest updates from the dev showing that they're committed. Here's the update. It says 100% LPs are burnt, rug proof forever. Love to see this. We've officially burnt the liquidity pools across all 414 pairs, ensuring a fully decentralized trustless environment that cannot be rugged. The liquidity is permanently locked, and he mentions all the different ones, effectively the tokens that it also reflects with Teddy Bear, PDAI, T-Bill, pWBTC, and Fed. This is true commitment. There you go. That's hearing from them. This is true commitment to long-term success. Instead of pulling liquidity, we burnt it. Forever bonding 414 with PDAI, pWBTC, Atropa, Fed, T-Bill, Bear, and Pulse. I love to see it. Again, this kind of is acting as a leverage on the Atropa ecosystem. So of course, it doesn't make sense for you to be part of this ecosystem if you don't believe in the Atropa ecosystem. If you don't believe in Marie, which by the way, he's also a doxed ex-NASA employee, worked with Microsoft, Intel, HP, and gave a talk in PulseChain Tour last, I think maybe April of last year as well. We know his name, James Ollis Osborne III. Guys, okay, some people even rumor that he's working straight with either ex-MakerDAO engineers or with Richard Hart himself. Okay, we shall see what is going to be the MakerDAO replacement. We're going to save that for the next PDAI deep dive video. But for now, we're going to continue with the message here. It says you can track everything online on the website, which we're going to showcase. And then he says, this is only the beginning. The game theory here is massive, and we're just getting started on PulseChain. Aggressive supply reduction continues. Another 1.5 million 414 just burnt, cutting total supply even further. Over 90% of the total supply is burnt forever. And then he's saying how much supply is left. So yeah, very, very bullish. But we're going to quickly do a quick pause before we go further into what is Wagami, even though, by the way, it's a very bullish token, because by the way, everyone knows the meaning of Wagami, like we are all gonna make it. But now we're taking that mind share that people know. It's like, oh, Wagami, that's a crypto terminology. Now imagine we put that in a token. Now people can finally find a community to latch onto and be like, oh yeah, this is Wagami. It's a timeless name. People can get it in a split second. And that's one of the unwritten rules, or even a psychological checklist for a meme coin to really succeed, is the simplicity of it. And plus the fact that if you look deeper into it, you'll see, okay, the reflections play a huge purpose. A leverage on Atropa. Okay, what is Atropa? Okay, what is PDAI? Part of PulseChain. Again, just think about it as a retail investor coming in. What attracts them initially is the Wagami name. And then after they want to stay after they learn more about it. Oh, actually, I can make free tokens by just holding this. It's crazy. I don't even need to connect my wallet to anything. This is very cool. And we're also going to talk about the 4-on-4. This is the kind of the original token part of the ecosystem. But before we do though, now I also want to show you guys the macroeconomic factors that's going to really help build that momentum that we want to time ourselves with. This is why I mentioned in the previous video that Richard Hart is very smart. He's timed and he's been very patient. Guys, he has timed his global marketing with the whole hardware wallet. We never know if PDAI is going to be in those wallets. Anyways, it's going to be a free electronic gift to be sent to straight to people's doors. Guess what? He did that strategy in the previous bull run. Look what happened to Hex. Guys, one of the biggest winners of that cycle, a 10,000x. People became new millionaires. He literally minted millionaires, guys. Okay? He knows something or two about making people rich. And as you heard from him in his tweets, that he gave a time frame of 1 to 2 months. And that also aligns with my prediction, just using pattern recognition, where that's where I believe the Bitcoin dominance is going to start to fall. The other total crypto market cap is going to start to rise, hopefully all the way up to 1 trillion. The total crypto market cap hopefully going from 7 to even 12 trillion. And of course, that's really aspirational. But yeah, having news like this, the S&P 500 closes at new all-time high of $6,178. Also couple this with the inevitable Fed rate cuts, which by the way, a lot of people are predicting will happen in the next FOMC meeting in July. I like to be a little bit realistic, and I think it's going to happen more likely in the September time, but it doesn't even matter which month they choose either way, because if you remember what I said, the news are already priced in the charts. So keep that in mind. This is why you want to kind of keep an eye on smart money and act from there. Just don't wait till the charts update. Majority of the time, you're going to be too late. It's going to be a delay. Okay. So what I mean by smart money is looking at statistics like this. This is the total Bitcoin spot ETF net inflow. You can see from this chart clearly showcasing a net positive inflow of cash going into the Bitcoin spot ETF, and the same can be said with the Ethereum spot ETF. You can see here, especially in the last month, the total net inflow has been very, very positive. So this is great news. And another news here from John Miller, it says President Trump announces that the trade war with China is officially over. A deal has been signed. So no more of that tariff fears and, oh my God, what is Trump doing? He's ruining the economy, etc. And if you guys weren't caught up, that there was an Israel-Iran ceasefire deal, thanks to the US for facilitating that. Very, very bullish. And this is what I'm trying to say. As you look at the macroeconomic conditions, for example, such as the DXY or the US dollar index, as it gets weaker, what will people do? They're going to save less because they're going to be more encouraged to spend or invest more. They're going to invest in leverage of inflation assets or hedge of inflation assets, such as the fixed supply, assets like Bitcoin, and of course looking deeper into it. And that's kind of the flowchart, right? Where they're going to first of all look into, and that's kind of the flowchart, right? Where they're going to first look into Bitcoin, and then after that they want to make more gains and look into Ethereum. They want to make more gains and look into PulseChain. You just have to wait and let it play out. The simplest thing that you can do is to be an investor and absolutely do nothing. Just keep an eye on those metrics so that you can identify when the euphoric phases happen. Don't get attached psychologically to these price levels. Oh, my bag is worth, I don't know, let's say 300,000. I'm going to wait until it goes to 1 million. It's only a 3x away. No. If total crypto market was at 10 trillion and let's say Bitcoin just broke under its 50 weekly moving average, that's a sign of a top. This is where you need to start converting your tokens into stable coins. This is where you can now start to think about creating passive income with, providing liquidity in stable coins. That is zero impermanent loss. I'm going to make a separate video on this because PulseX provides all of this. And this is why I also wanted to quickly pivot to my tweet right here, where I said, PulseChain will become the black hole for liquidity with never been done before tech of PDAI and pWBTC. people will finally be able to generate yield off their pWBTC and WBTC, eWBTC, right? Instead of collecting dust, right? The whales are holding WBTC, like even like World Liberty Finance, they're just holding, they can't make yield on it. If you want to make yield on Bitcoin, you have to go to that proof of work inefficient chain, and then you have to get your equipment, and then you have to pay expensive electricity, which by the way, majority of the profits go to the electricity companies, right? This is what PulseChain solves. You don't need to have expensive equipment that heats up, that is super loud, that's expensive, that needs to run 24/7. So look at this. PDAI is a future stablecoin that doesn't need a bank account, fully crypto backed and decentralized. Will PulseX add P stable swap curve liquidity pools for USDC, USDT, and PDAI? Very, very interesting. And I put a screenshot right here. If you guys know about the normal stable swap that is existing right now in PulseX, imagine we have a P stable swap. Absolutely crazy. And if you guys also didn't know that the pWBTC, eWBTC used to be active on the PulseX farms. If you go right here, if you click on finished, you'll see it there right there. So they're not active anymore. And I think Richard did that strategically. And perhaps, yes, initially when he put it, it didn't garner that much attention. But I think he's going to strategically time it and then activate it at the right time when people are really into that DeFi season. This is the same reason why he lowered the INC inflation rate, where it's now 0.03 INC per second when it used to be 1 INC per second. I believe this is equivalent to 4 Bitcoin halvings that happen in a span of like a month, ladies and gentlemen. And again, he's doing this on purpose, because if you go to PulseChain and you go to stats, you can see that we are at our lowest liquidity that we've ever been, basically. Also, if you didn't know, that liquidity is kind of like a weight factor. The lower liquidity that we have, the less capital is required for us to appreciate. Yes, it increases volatility, but in Richard Hart's words, volatility is the price that you pay for holding the best crypto assets. Guys, you have to put your mind in Richard Hart's thinking. He thinks that the macroeconomic conditions, they're going to turn bullish very soon. That is it. We're going to start seeing Bitcoin dominance fall, regardless of however many billions Michael Saylor starts buying. We will be the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. PulseChain is one of the top 3 Ethereum holding entities. Guys, do you understand what that means? That's not in a leveraged position like Michael Saylor. This is in spot position, 171,000 Ethereum. We are, in a literal sense, a leverage of Ethereum's success. The digital oil, this is why, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to become a black hole for liquidity. We're going to suck in all that liquidity into our chain. And just like we're going to go back to, those really high levels of liquidity, which, by the way, obviously, at that time, we had the PulseX farms, which was very attractive. I think Richard Hart turned them off so that we can enter that growth phase. And then once we're at those high levels, and he wants to stabilize that price, he's going to reinstantiate those PulseX farms, probably lower the INC or increase the INC inflation rate to kind of encourage and incentivize people, even from outside the chain, to provide liquidity here. Imagine making, 20, 30 APR from PDAI, EDAI, when they're 1-to-1 ratio, making yield, right, with the MakerDAO replacement, with the PRV forks, like the Better Bank. It's going to be interesting, guys. This is true decentralization. We're positioning ourselves. This is why I'm so excited to be part of projects like this. Genuine devs that are continuously building, even though in the past few months, it's been a tough time for altcoins. But it's better to launch when things are at a ground floor. Because remember, a rocket ship takes off from the ground, guys. Takes off from the ground. So big shout out to the devs behind us. Let's check out their website. This is Atropa414.com, a link in the description. And yeah, you can see right here, the deflation is real. The peg is coming. Pause. You can see here, this is 414, by the way. It earns Teddy Bear, it earns PDAI, it earns Fed, it earns T-bill. So this is the chart as well, and you can see here that it is around 77% from all-time high. This is the buy zone box that I like to draw, which is from the minus 60% all the way to the minus 80%. So anything under that is that's extremely cheap. And obviously right now we are in the very cheap region in that buy zone. This is where I usually like to buy. And the same thing can be said with Wagami, guys. It is down minus 74%. So in the very cheap zone. This is also why I wanted to wait until this chart got cheaper and until I saw a bullish forecast for altcoins, which in this chart exactly shows what I'm trying to talk about, but this is more specifically with the debt cycle. But in any case, this is the the larger debt cycle, and then within that you can see even short-term debt cycles that happens. So yeah, going back to the website, if we scroll down, you can see here it shows the stats of the 414 protocol. Super bullish. It yields Treasury Bill, it yields Teddy Bear, PDAI, and Fed. And then it shows the OA Treasury wallet. Guys, this is bullish. 75,000 worth of potential buybacks. Okay, when are they going to time it? I'm so excited. This is good. Okay, I actually really like this. And as well down here, you can see a yield calculator where you can simulate how much rewards you could get. And it even shows the actual data on the global, daily or weekly or monthly yield that it generates. And of course, right now, it's not really the highest volume days within PulseChain in general. So if you go to PulseChain here, you can see that we're only having 12.4 million. We've had days in the last mini altcoin season, like, the November to December time, where we were hitting 100 million consistently every single day. Absolutely crazy. Imagine the amount of pulse that was being burnt. Imagine the amount of PulseX that was being burnt. And speaking about that, let's quickly see where it's at. It's currently at 7.29%. Oh, and it even shows liquidity pools. So again, it gives you the total value of that liquidity pools, which, by the way, they're all burnt now, worth $40,000. If you guys didn't know, market cap is not the real number. It's actually the liquidity, because it shows the bid and the ask side. So if you scroll down here, you can see 4.5K worth of Wagami. And I guess while we're down here, let's read more about what is Wagami. And here you can see, are you going to make it this cycle, Anon? Wagami tokenomics, transaction tax, 11 in and out total. 2% goes to 4-on-4 yield, so it gives you more of 4-on-4, which gives you more of T-bill, Fed, and Teddy Bear and PDAI. And you can see here, 2% goes to PDAI yield, 2% goes to Atropa yield, which, by the way, that token is up 25% just today. 2% goes to pWBTC yield. That's literally my top two favorite tokens. 1% treasury yield in Pulse, fuels LP, burns and reward. 1% burn to 4-on-4 and 1% burn to Wagami. So yeah, this is officially, those two tokens are both deflationary. So that's even more bullish. Kind of reminds me of the PTGC, but this is kind of PTGC but of Atropa, right? The PTGC of Atropa. I love it. And you can see here 420 million tokens burnt at launch, which is worth 42%, immutable, no admin keys, hyper deflation. And of course, every transaction it does the yield, burns 4-on-4 and Wagami, sends Pulse to the OA to grow LP and fund ecosystem liquidity. And here it mentions all the liquidity pools. Through liquidity engineering, Wagami and 4-on-4 look to be the best Atropa and PRC20 based ecosystem index that rewards passive income. I like the word index there. It's kind of like what's an index fund for an Atropa token? Oh, there's too many tokens in Atropa, I just need to buy an index fund. This could be one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wagami and welcome to 4-on-4. Two super bullish names, because it's kind of smart to kind of steal that mindshare that's already existing. Everyone already knows what Wagami is, but now to attribute it to this token, this can be huge. Let's see, are we going to play it the right way? I'm super excited for the short term, for the mid-term, for the long term for PulseChain. And also want to say a big shout out to the YouTube members who are choosing to support my small channel. Thank you very much for doing what you do. And to the highlighted comments here from Dante, says, I'm bullish on pWBTC on PulseChain and bullish on Richard Hart's Bitcoin meme on PulseChain. Shout out to you. I'm not sure, are you talking about INC there? Because technically that is Richard Hart's first meme coin. I'll make a separate video kind of doing a deep dive into INC as well. So keep an eye on that. Let me know in the comments if you want it sooner rather than later. And here, thank you to Hex Farmer. It says, so many contributions from many corners of the community. PulseChain is a network. That is very true, where the community is honestly one of PulseChain's greatest assets. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You can fork a network, but you cannot fork a community. We are truly one of a kind, ladies and gentlemen. Every single one of us adds value. Even you. By you just watching, liking, commenting, sharing, you're adding value. You're helping with that network effect. Every single person who writes a tweet, every single person who makes a video, every single dev who's building, during those times where it's not even bullish, when the market is red, Shout out to you. Shout out to all the builders. And I also want to say a big shout out. And by the way, yes, last but not least, thank you very much, Kate in here, super video Khaled. And I also want to say a big shout out to, builders like this, Pulsefolio. They said we should update our PulseChain influencers list. And, it's absolutely an honor to be listed amongst those people, guys. Like, you need to understand, I started in PulseChain, clueless. In August of 2023, clueless, absolutely clueless. I didn't know that much about Hex, by the way. I've heard of it in the previous cycle, but I was in a totally different other side of the corner or the world of crypto at that time. I was mainly in BNB and Ethereum. You can check my old videos, right? And I took a hiatus from crypto, and I was probably not going to come back. But literally, PulseChain was the reason I came back. One of the last things I did in the previous bull run was sacrificing PulseX, and then my brother was telling me, oh, actually, PulseChain launched, by the way. And even then, it took me another 3 to 4 months where I one day just woke up and I was like, you know what? Let me try and visit crypto and see what actually is different this time. Because I was so done from the little bubbles that happened with the metaverse, the NFTs and stuff like that, the fake node dApps, the fake yield, etc., etc. And then when I connected my wallet into PulseChain for the first time, guys, and I swear to you, I have never doubted myself being in PulseChain. All the way from August of 2023 up until today, 28th of June, I have never doubted my position in this crypto altcoin season, in this bull cycle. I knew that there's something here that's never been done before. I knew the unique selling points. And by the way, the more I learned about other chains, like, base chain being a layer 2, Ethereum, right, its original purpose, and of course Solana, what actually attracts it, what makes it the unicorn of this bull run, the more I realized there's something here in PulseChain that the masses are not realizing yet. What are we betting for at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen? We're betting on their retail FOMO. PulseChain is truly a city. We're building the foundation. We're building the highways through the different bridges, through the different dexes as well. And soon the floodgates will open. With centralized exchanges, that's when it really lowers the barrier for entry. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about the two projects, 4&4 and Wagami. Join their Telegram, link in the description. Say hi, tell them that you've came here from this video, and of course, join my Telegram. Don't miss out. Do remember, you can get access to my course. This is a limited time offer. Use code PDAI to get this course for entirely for free. 1 hour and a half, 6 videos. You'll learn more about crypto operation security than you've ever realized that there is to learn. It's better to be safe than sorry. Don't be complacent. That's a major risk already. And remember, big shout out to the man above. Trust in the process, trust in God, and I'll see you later. Take care.